Jack,
Amy,
good morning. I woke up early today. I've been up about 3 hours already,
no shit.
and I found myself quite engaged and quite busy with my six brains.
Your sixth brain.
Well, I've got six, in addition to the wet one, I've got six in the brain that I'm
Oh,
trying
got
to
it.
flesh out.
So you're you're brain surfing. Yes.
Not surfing, I'm brain growing, brain gardening, knowledge
Brain
gardening.
gardening. Yep.
Yes,
Yep, that's what it is.
that's what I'm trying to do. Them finding the previous impedance to be much, much minimized this time around. Although, and I fired off a question to Jerry on this, even if you subscribe to the Pro plan, they only limit you to 30 gigs of attachments. So I asked him, hey, since you've got over 300,000 nodes, have you hit that 30 gig limit?
He doesn't
Or
attach it. He doesn't do that.
that was what I was afraid of. So if links are
Jerry
everything, then
Jerry
that's fine.
doesn't Jerry doesn't put content. He only puts nodes. He doesn't take much time to do content.
So he links things together. That's pretty much what he does now.
Yep, yep. And that's fine for some people,
Yeah.
but for others, you want to click on a node and see what's there.
Yes. Well, in theory, it's okay if you just do one more click, and then, he would probably have the URL to whatever he was collecting.
At
But
least, at
yeah,
least you should do that. Yeah, but
I think he does that. I think he does do that. But yeah, I've been fleshing out my collaborology brain. I've been fleshing out the one that I call Decline of Empire, which is the sad state of affairs. But I've also been having fun fleshing out one that I call New Life, which is right now collecting where I might go, or at least spend a week or a month, at about a dozen different places. So that is fun. Then I've got
speaking
another
of
one. Yeah, go ahead.
speaking of Empire, I've been rewatching the Star Wars series called Andor,
Mm, I
and
have not seen that.
it really rings relevant to today.
I wonder why.
It's very nicely done. Um, you can get the DVDs from Amazon and or rent them probably, but there's two seasons,
Mhm.
um, and it's really well done.
But it's an animated series, right? That's not a live action one, right?
No, it's not animated. It's the real people.
Interesting. I thought at some point they went to animation to cut costs, but I guess not.
Well, they did. There's a whole bunch of Star Wars series that are animated, and in fact, the reboot of Firefly is going to be animated, and that's because the preacher died, and they don't they wanted to bring the whole cast back, but they couldn't, so they're going to write him in with animation.
Okay, I get it. I get it. Hey, who else have we got here? Hey,
It's the
Kayla,
lady
how
with the
goes?
light bulb.
Lady with a light bulb.
Hey.
Okay, so I guess the light bulb is on.
Yes, the light bulb is on.
Kayla, question for you.
Yeah.
Is your buddy going to join us today?
I don't know. I don't think so.
This
He's not my buddy. He's my sister's buddy. I actually have never met the guy, but apparently he talks to my sister about everything that I talk about.
hmm,
My sister. So, and she doesn't really have the capacity for deep conversations. Has admitted that, and she zones out when um, he talks about politics and bettering society. And so I said, "Hey, he sounds like my kind of people." That I invited him, but then she told me that he worked late, so he might not join, etc., etc.
okay. I'd be curious to see
Why does
in
your
what.
sister zone out?
I'm sorry.
Why does your sister zone out?
Why do most people zone out? They can't comprehend a lot of the things that we talk about. They don't have the capacity for it. They can't follow politics. They can't follow, like, it's very difficult for the average person to follow logic and structure and strategy. Like,
She
it's really
younger than
hard.
you, or is she younger or
Older.
old? Oh,
Yeah, she's older. It is very safe for me to say that aside from my dad, I think I'm probably one of the most intelligent ones in my family. I didn't have that traditional education background, but um, I can think for myself. Couple that with courage, and
that's an asset. Those are assets.
Yep.
yeah, yeah.
Hey, Kayla, is it okay to know the name of your sister's friend?
His name is Corin. I don't know how to spell it. I've been
Corin.
spelling it Koren. He's a young guy. He's gay.
I've never met a person named Corin.
Yeah, neither have I.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to meet him at some point.
Me too.
Well, do they go by him or they?
I don't know. That's a good question for him.
Okay. Well, I hope you do still invite your sister, and hopefully at some point she at least can say hi.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Tell her anytime she really wants to vent, we're ready. So I was telling Jack that I've been spending much of the last 22 hours growing six brains. And it's actually fun these days. But I also ran up against limitations because the brain, at least in the version that I have access to, only allows 30 gigs of attachments. So for the moment, I'm not attaching anything other than links because Jerry has about what? Jack, I think he has over 300,000 nodes in his brain now. And in my
Probably.
workflowy outline, I've got over 190,000 nodes there now. But I do attach documents and images and other text content to my nodes in workflowy.
Now, in workflow, can you nest?
Meaning,
You have a line that's a concept, and if you click on it, it doesn't expand the outline below, but it opens a new outline.
you can easily do that. It's just another link.
Just another link.
Yeah. But you can also, in your words, transclude it so it does appear just like it was part of the natural plex. So it can
Okay.
do that. It
All
can do
right.
both. Yeah.
I sent you an email this morning from a guy in the compendium group, who's made a fork of compendium in 3D. And I thought you might enjoy looking at it.
Okay, I will definitely take a look.
It's at
Visualization
GitHub.
is always fun.
Yeah, it's at GitHub, but he also has an app that uh, you can play with, and it's actually quite cool.
Well, then we should all play with it.
Well, it's not the brain in the same sense. It's 3D bubbles, but they are IBIS nodes. They
Yeah, I
are
get it. I remember compendium. I remember compendium.
right. And so and he did it with Babylon JS. I'm actually quite impressed with it.
Okay, I will take a look. You know, I may not have mentioned this to either of you, but I used to use a program called Axon. And
Yeah,
Axon,
you mentioned it.
I found in 2013, and I still can't believe there's anything that today will give me the same thing, although it's also partly my fault because I should have been able to code it up by now. But it was the
See, that's
simplest way.
that would be my argument. Why the fuck
Yes,
didn't you
yes.
code it up?
Yeah, I'm too ADHD, but I gotta stop that. Anyway, so I drew a lot of diagrams. You know, the way I think is I diagram things out. So I make connections, I draw arcs, I circle things, I color things, whatever. And back when I used to work at Siebel, and this is what, I don't know, geez, years and years ago. I used to do this by hand before Axon came out. I left Siebel in 2004. So I would print these things out and they would be in my office and people would walk by. And there's this one person that I remember that halted in his tracks, took a look at that document, stared at her for about 20 seconds, and I said, can I help you? And he said, I always like looking at new ways of presenting information, you know, things that he was not previously familiar with, diagram types. So I thought, yeah, he's a guy that thinks kind of like I do. I liked him. His name was Anthony. So I like thinking in ways that are visual. I like thinking so that I can see relationships. Does that make me a right brain person? I don't know, maybe. So that's much easier for me to comprehend and talk to and talk with than a long, series of words. Long series of words is much more difficult for me in written form. So I'm trying to replicate that over. Hey, by the way, Kayla, I know that Maxwell was on for about 1 or 2 minutes yesterday. I know that you know that I post these things. I hope it's not a problem for him that we post these conversations online. Just wanted to make sure that that was on the record.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, thank you. All right. So one of the reasons I was looking in my brain was I was trying to organize the backlog of possible topics that I could bring up. And there's about 2 or 3 dozen now. And I kind of hesitate some of these because I know that I have a reputation now of being a Debbie Downer. And so that's why I always have to think, should I bring this topic up or not? Okay, I'll mention something,
It
okay?
doesn't hurt. Yeah, go for it.
Do you know these following names? I'm going to name 1, 2, 3, 4 names. A fellow named Chester Bennington, a fellow named Avicii. I don't know whether it's male or female. person named Chris Cornell, and a person named Anthony Bourdain. Probably recognize the last name. Do any of those names sound familiar? I'll repeat them. Avicii, Chester Bennington, Anthony Bourdain, and Chris Cornell. So perhaps not. So
Yes, they do.
You do?
Uh-huh.
Do you know in what context?
I know Anthony Bourdain is a chef. I've heard the other ones, but I don't remember who they are.
Okay, so is he still alive?
Nope, they're all dead, right?
Yes.
I'm
You
guessing
know,
because of the what's it called? Because Anthony Bourdain is dead.
yeah. It turns out they were all working on a little documentary called Silent Children about widespread pedophilia and trafficking of children. And they
including
all,
Bourdain.
yes, and they all
Oh, yeah,
committed suicide.
that 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 would explain a lot. Yeah.
Remarkable how many people are feeling suicidal these days. So the sickness in our society is much more malignant than I had thought it was. Have any of you spent any time in jmail.world?
No.
Jmail.world is an online service. Somebody actually did a pretty good job putting the DOJ released Epstein files, the emails, onto a site that they made look very much like Gmail. So
Oh,
to
I've
get
been to
in
that.
there,
You gave me that link. I've been
yes,
to that link. Yeah.
yes. And I believe I even mentioned how often the term beef jerky appeared in those emails. It's like about 4 dozen times at least. But there's now many mentions of Baal. I don't know how to pronounce it. Baal. Does that ring a bell to any of you?
No.
The Bible talks about Baal as, I think, one of the false gods that people worship. And it's connected with Satanism. It's been embellished. And Jeffrey Epstein, one of his international accounts that he used to transfer money with, he named that account Baal, Baal. I don't think that's a coincidence. Anyway, I think I'm going to shut up now. I just make this thing not very much fun for you guys these days.
What?
What was that? I didn't quite make sense out of that one, Jack.
You're a runaway conspiracy theorist. That makes it fun.
Is it runaway though? I mean, I'm not making this stuff up. And these files were released by the DOJ. And I'm not theorizing, I'm mentioning. By the way, one of the other things I'm doing, I have a node here called Victims of DJT. I have another node here called Victims of Jeffrey Epstein, JE. That's a pretty long list now. I don't know if you're aware, but DJT, the reason some of these people have not actually sued him is some of them have actually collected money from him. Like Michael Parker collected $10 million to stay silent, and he was 10 years old when he was raped by Trump. Maria Oliveira was 12 years old, and she collected $16 million
How do you
to
know
stay,
that?
because these are reported. These are court
They're
records.
reported by whom?
Okay, I could find the details of each of these law reports. But anyway, these have not
I
been
tend not
disputed.
to believe any of
These have,
that because
these have not been disputed.
well, that's fun to say, but
Okay, I will find them for you, Jack, because these have been circulated for over a decade and nobody's come forth and said this is false information. And Katie Johnson, one of them was 13. She's been interviewed because she has not been paid off yet. So these values range from 1 to 3 to 5 to 10 to 16 million. And those are just the ones that I am looking at right now directly. Yeah, so here are the details. A charge filed in 1992 in Palm Beach, Florida. Michael Parker, 10 years old, oral rape at Mar-a-Lago. Trump paid his parents $3 million in a settlement. That should be in the court records. Kelly Foyer, 12 years old, in 1989, $1 million settlement paid, Trump Tower, New York City, forced intercourse, 12 years old. Charles Bacon, 11 years old, $3 million, Trump Tower, 1994, New York City, oral and anal intercourse, $3 million,
so
11 years
you're
old.
saying Trump is doing boys.
Oh, yeah. Sasha Riley even says so. And that's how Sasha Riley was asked to do that with Trump, both ways. And Sasha was like 11 or 12 at the time. And Sasha was not paid off. And so Sasha is actually in a 4-hour interview. I think I sent you that link weeks ago, Jack.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. I'll keep going. Rebecca Conway, 13 years old. Trump Vineyard Estate, Charlottesville, Virginia, 2012. $5 million settlement. She was 13 years old. Maria Oliveira, 12 years old. Paid $16 million to settle allegations of forcible intercourse at Mar-a-Lago, Palm Beach, Florida, 1993. And these payments were all handled by Michael Cohen, who was Trump's fixer. Let me keep going. Kevin Knoll, N-O-L-L, 11 years old, anal rape, Trump Tower, New York City, 1998, settlement. So I'm not making this stuff up, Jack. This guy is cruel. He's evil. I mean, I don't like to use the word evil lightly. I've never used the word before this year in conversation. I've used it multiple times this year in conversation. So that's the problem, is this is so extreme that when people first hear about this, they say, oh, couldn't be true. That can't be true. Anyway, this is what's going into my brain so that I can actually see. There's dozens of these names. The other ones, I still have to get some of those kind of details on. Bridget Sullivan, Cassandra, what's her name? My brain just froze. Huh. The brain just came up and said the service is unavailable. What's going on here?
Here's your reminder from Sam.
What was
Okay, I
that?
think it's Alexa was trying to tell me to take my meds. Maybe I'm going off my meds. Maybe that's the
It
problem.
sounds like it. And also, all this doom scrolling is not healthy.
Jack, are we supposed to ignore this information?
I think what we're ignoring is the fact that Trump is back on a drill baby drill when climate change is going to murder all of us. It doesn't matter who he's raping.
Really? Really? Wow.
We have
Nothing.
different priorities. I mean, I'm very sympathetic to the pedophilia thing, but I'm far more sympathetic to the future of my children.
Jack, here's the problem though. It's not just pedophilia. He's actually killing children, okay? And this is the person that actually controls trillions of dollars in tax funds and debt and future obligations of this entire country to which we pay taxes. And if we're able to do anything about climate change, it has to be funded. So this guy is going out and spending what, $6 billion, every couple of days on a war, and that's going to bankrupt us. So that even if we wanted to do anything on climate change, it's not going to happen. There will be no money for it. I might argue, not argue so vehemently if it was quote unquote just rape, which is bad enough. But he's actually murdering these children.
Can you break down that war and the thing you said about finances again?
What did I say about fire? Was this a previous call, previous session?
No, no, no. Well, you just said it, and I'm trying to make the connection here because I somewhat agree with Jack. And again, I've got kids of my own. you know, um,
So does
you have
Sam.
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just getting into the details of it is what is to me what is like, I don't mind you touching on that at all. Like we all know he's disgusting. But, you know, I don't know. I feel like an asshole saying, "Well, what's the bigger picture here?"
Okay, so my connection here is that we have somebody who is diverting billions of dollars per day in a make-up war to distract us from the background that this person has perpetrated against children and against society, and that this is siphoning off funds that we could be using in order to combat climate change. We could be building more infrastructure. We could be building more windmills. We could be building more geothermal. We could be building more hydro. But none of that is going to happen so long as billions of dollars per day are spent making bombs and drones and airplanes, and other weapons. So we have somebody with questionable judgment, intelligence, character, strategic view. He's got none, okay? He's only doing this to distract us so that we don't kick him out of office.
Well, it's not working.
What do you mean it's not
And
working?
we're already in it. Have you guys heard of um the global order?
What's
That
global order?
every 100 years the power changes.
Not
Like,
in that context. What do
have
you
you
mean
heard of
by that?
something like that, Jack?
I haven't heard this every 100 years, but there are cycles, yes.
Yeah. And that this war with Iran is part of it. It's like the global power is shifting. Then they want to make sure that
Well,
the United States is losing its seat.
let me give you a backstory that I have. Um, a guy named Ivan Browning worked at Sandia Laboratories in New Mexico in the 1950s. And the CIA came to him and gave him a contract to discover the causes of war. And you know what he came up with? Believe it or not? Climate change. Mass migrations and climate change. And what he did is he went back into the history of volcanism and major atmospheric changes from volcanoes. And he discovered a signal on the tidal stress with ancient volcanoes, such that he was able to say that any new moon or full moon, plus or minus 3 days, was a potential. And I have living proof of that. And what it is that we know, for example, that the Syrian war broke out because the crops had failed. And the farmers wanted redress and they couldn't get it, so they started a war, civil war. And then they started migrating to Europe. Um, so what we're seeing in the larger span of life is that climate change is once again driving human behavior. That's the backstory I have.
So how does that factor into the Gaza war?
The Gaza war has to do with the Jews not behaving,
And is that climate change related?
partially. They need land.
Which is not just the climate issue, right?
Well, when you look at what Trump said, he wanted to go in there and build high rises and Trump towers and all of the rest of it. I mean, they saw the economic opportunity. But the bigger shift globally is the South moving north.
That's real interesting.
So what he did is that report was um, classified until the 70s when they declassified it. And so uh, a guy named Nelson Winkless III, who knew Ivan, went and turned it into the book Climate and the Affairs of Men by Ivan Browning and Nelson Winkless III. And I was in a used bookstore in um, Nevada City, and there was that book, Climate and the Affairs of Men, And I looked at it and it was used, and I checked the price, and it was $1.50. So I bought it. And I came home and I started reading it, and I didn't stop until 4 the next morning when I'd finished it. And it was the most amazing tell of history that you didn't get in school. In school, it was all about, the Silk Road was about capitalism and blah blah this and tea and blah blah that and so on and so forth, but nobody talked about climate change. It's never been on anybody's radar, but that book put it on everybody's radar. Now, how did I know about the 3-day moon thing? One night we were down in Los Angeles with my first wife and our kids, and uh, we were driving back towards the motel to head home, and we lived in Northern California, and we were driving through the mountains, and Nefer, my daughter, said, "Dad, where do these mountains come from?" And I said, believe it or not, they're pushed up by Earth's actions, and mostly earthquakes. And someday you'll experience one. 7 o'clock the next morning, the 7.0 in Northridge hit and just bolted us out of bed. And that's because it was a full moon that night.
Was this the 1989 one?
Uh, yeah,
1990 something.
that was 1992 or one, something like that. Yes.
93.
93. Yeah. Northridge. Um,
Yeah.
and so we quick, got our clothes on and got in the car and backed away from the building because the Motel 6 might fall down. And we were sitting there, and then we kept hearing these booms, booms. And what they were the transformers in the power field just across the freeway were falling over from the shaking and causing electrical shorts. And then the thugs arrived, came in their lowriders and, the whole thing. So we got out, got on the freeway and headed out. And we drove under this overpass that goes out towards Lancaster. And we got another couple of miles when the freeway came to a stop. And it turned out that overpass we just had driven under had collapsed. It's the one that killed that motorcycle cop. And a bridge in front of us had collapsed. So uh, the highway patrol came along a side road up a hill and cut down the fence. And, fortunately, I was driving a four-wheel drive Subaru. So I just put it in four-wheel drive, and we ground up the hill, and other people followed us. And we drove out to Lancaster. And this is the thing. We went into a restaurant in Palmdale. Um, I got in, and the guy says, "Hey, you're still in your jammies. Were you in that earthquake?" Didn't realize I hadn't put my pants on. I was still in my jammies. There's so earthquake. And by the way, that the mountains in that area grew something like 3 inches in that earthquake. They know that from satellite lasers.
That's really interesting, Jack, because if that's connected to, the 100 years of power shift, climate change, and human behavior, that can be also connected to energy.
Well, energy is one of the scarce resources that we go rattling our sabers for, as well as food and shelter and blah blah blah. In ancient times, energy sources were not the issue, just food and shelter and clean water. So if you were living in an area that was just overwhelmed by heat, um, and a drought, uh, and you had to move into the northern climates where it's greener and lusher and blah blah blah, and the natives there don't much care for that, so they take up arms.
Yeah, that's what I mean. In ancient times, it's not energy as we see it, it's
Yep.
energy as an esoteric,
Yes.
you know, energy in terms of connecting universally. One might say woo woo energy.
Woo woo energy. Yeah. So you can see it's we live in epic times, and right now we've pushed the atmosphere CO2 levels, or that is to say, carbon levels, including methane, to levels that they were historically when the Earth really was in bad shape.
So connecting that to what you're saying, Sam, about um, Trump and his disgustingness and the pedophilia ring and all of this coming to light. Um, the way I see it too is everything's related. Energetically, if we're destroying the planet, we're destroying ourselves. We're just, like everything's kind of going into
Of course
shit,
we
right?
are. Yes.
Um, what was I going to say about that? I feel like, I think even Congress is saying, you know what, fuck him. It's just like the war, unfortunately, is waking Republicans up. That's the sad part, is like the through line is the war, or is oil. But anyways, now I'm just like rambling and I don't know how to further articulate myself. But I hope you guys get the gist of what I'm trying to say.
Okay, so let me riff on that. If the through line is oil and by
Uh-huh.
association petrodollars, then you could also go back to another conspiracy theory, Jack, which is that the reason we took out Gaddafi in his bunker in Libya is because he was trying to um, disengage from the petrodollar.
And
And
so
he
was
was,
Saddam Hussein.
that's right. And those were the two that we took out in
Yes.
those skirmishes way back a couple decades ago.
Yes.
So yeah, you can, make up all kinds of crap about, um, the 9/11 and Osama bin Laden. But, Osama bin Laden did not give us any reason to start those wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. It was just too far-fetched. nobody even bought it at the time. They just didn't question it. So yeah, if you look at the petrodollar and oil and energy, you could explain those wars back then. You could even explain wars now. The Venezuelan attack, the bombing of Iran. I just thought that we were more civilized than that, but not if we
We're
have this
not.
idiot. Not if we have this idiot in charge of trillions of dollars.
Roughly 50% of the United States voted for that idiot.
Yeah, 50% of the voting people.
And unfortunately, nobody really has the capacity to understand
That's the
these.
point. So now you're back to the root cause, and that's people in their critical thinking skills. They're not taught in school. They're certainly not taught in the Ozarks. Where are they taught? By educated people.
Well, the people that thump on Bibles have made a lot of success eliminating that possibility from the educational programs in
Well,
schools.
we know that. I used to have my kids sit and watch TV commercials and then ask them what is the message they're getting from it. Now my son didn't really see through them quite as much as my daughter, but my daughter says, "Oh, oh," and she would see the bullshit.
Yeah.
Critical thinking skills and conversational literacy are the two highest skills children need, and they're not getting it. That's why I'm doing the Sensecraft project.
Sensecraft, you said? Is that what it's
Yeah,
called?
it's a project which takes the World of Warcraft game and converts it into a structured conversation game. So instead of your quest being to get on horses and ride into a cave and slaughter a bunch of orcs, your quest is in fact to explain to the best of your ability in your guild as a game move what are the causes of climate change, or what are the causes of what are the issues surrounding women's rights, or what are the issues surrounding um, clean water, et cetera, et cetera. And they're just deep, epic quests where guilds in the World of Warcraft sense, they compete to make the best game moves, which is the best answers and arguments. However, we're changing the scoring mechanism so that it's not who made the best game move, but who worked the best with other guilds to co-create grand syntheses. And it's free and open source, and we want to get it in schools. Now, I already had one teacher say, "How soon can I have it?"
Nice. What's the grade level?
Oh, well, so first of all, you've got to be able to type at a keyboard. It's not an animated game. It's you're in little chat rooms with your role players, your role members. I don't know how much you know about World of Warcraft, but what it does is it breaks up the guild into different roles to play. An example role is a philosopher, one who studies the problem and conjures ideas. And another one is researchers who take what the philosopher conjures and goes looking for both supporting and dissenting evidence in the literature. Not in social media, but in scholarship. Have to do research. Wikipedia isn't the whole story. They have to go deeper, and they come up with these answers to substantiate these resources to substantiate a game move. So if I say in a game move A causes B, then I follow that with here's my evidence field. I've got this and this and this document to show A causes B. But I probably also have found literature that says A does not cause B. And it's a wise guild that will put it all out there. So it's really going to be for middle school, high school, and some grammar school kids are going to want to play it. But I have a friend who is teaching at West Point, and he wants to bring it into the West Point Academy. But we're also going to put it out in these things called knowing hubs. These are a new kind of social community, social network, where it's not about your favorite sports or politics. It's about global issues, and that's all that's allowed to go on in there. If you need to gab with your friend, you go over to Facebook or whatever for that. But this is where you come to do the people's business, and we want to put those all over the planet and federate them. That way we can have kids in classrooms in California working with kids in Africa, and Oman and other places. I've got an Omanian who wants to be in she wants to be in our guild. She's 14 years old.
Nice.
She goes to the international school, which kind of tells me, and I looked it up, she's getting a very broad spectrum education, not the usual uh, um, 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 uh, Muslim-based education. She's very broad. So I figured it out after working with Engelbart and all of these other things that you can't be reductionist and say there's a root cause, but I can say at the base level somewhere is the human ability to think critically and hold a civil conversation. Those two go together. I've said enough.
Oh, that's great.
I put Sam to sleep.
No, I'm listening. So when will it be ready to engage in such guild craft?
Well, it's it's still it's still very much in what we call the engineering prototype phase, and we don't even have the scoring mechanism built yet. But it is now substantially strong enough that I'm opening up a small quest on ocean acidification, which it turns out the Omanian girl has taken an interest in. And I'm going to use it as a training session where we're going to break the rules of a guild. In a guild, you're anonymous. You're behind an avatar or some kind of a handle. Nobody actually knows. You know, theoretically, you could have the Unabomber and the Pope and Trump in the same guild, and nobody would know. That's the idea. But if what we're going to do is what I've done in the past is we're going to go into Zoom and all talk together about how we're going to plan our game move as a way of teaching them how to do it. And that's to kickstart it. And we're just now getting that started.
Is there capacity to do another one?
Oh, there's capacity to do as many as we want to play, sure. That's all right. For the record, it's at sensecraft.garden. Let me put that in the chat room.
I see it.
Sensecraft.garden. Yeah, we bought a bunch of names in the garden TLD because it's all about knowledge gardening.
Mhm.
And so it's called it's there it's demo.sensecraft.garden, and you can create an account. Just go ahead and create one and pick a handle of your own choice. It may tell you that's already taken. Um, and There are a bunch of little foo kinds of quests that we threw up just to test things, and we're still testing things. But uh, it's it's uh, it's there for people to play with.
Okay, let me see if the following use case applies. Could I equate the following to a quest? Suppose we took the recording of this conversation from last Sunday and said the quest is to figure out what we can learn about conversation and civil disagreement and issues around collaborology. Would that be a valid quest?
Yeah, so this is where a long series of training in the IBIS methodology says that you need a single well-posed question, not a blue sky question.
Okay, so let me get more specific. Take the following 800 recordings of CHG conversations and find those instances where someone interrupted another. Would that be a quest?
Yeah, it's not a meaningful quest, but it is a quest, yes. Now, if you instead said, now you see the problem. So here's the problem with a quest. You can go through a given body of knowledge like you've collected and say, find me all the instances of X or whatever. That doesn't generate the controversy that asks for debate, for arguments and further evidence outside. You're doing a closed world quest, and the quests I have in mind that spawn critical thinking are open world. What the fuck is going on in this world with climate change? Or what the fuck is going on in this world with women's rights? Or racism? Or, pick the issue. Whatever it is, it needs to be a contestable issue. There has
I
to be
thought it
a
was
challenge.
contestable.
Huh?
I thought it, was contestable that, let's say, somebody says, I did interrupt them, and then I could say, well, I thought you were done. But I get what you're saying.
I think you're looking for a way to use this tool, the SenseCraft tool, to harvest from your collection of data. And
Yeah, that's one use case.
there are probably, yes, a zillion quests that are in there. What I like about a given quest is it may spawn other quests. I like the idea that a quest is a continuous conversation, even though there's a time box on the quest.
Okay, so let me draw a mental diagram. Let's say each of our conversations starts with a topic, like I asked, Jack, how are you doing? Then it goes on to something else, like, hey, maybe I've been working on the brain. Then it goes to something else, like maybe, let's say, Maxwell's got his homework done. And then it goes to something else, like, climate change. So if we map all of this out, then I could say on a specific one, let's just pick climate change because you've got that in focus. You can take a conversation and go, okay, so did we go into a material conversation on that, or did we get too easily distracted? See, at the meta level, that would be collaborological. At the
Yeah, okay.
specific
So
level,
so
go ahead.
you are now getting into the roots of what it could be used for, yes.
Yeah, I see it.
And the fact is, Kayla, since it's open source and free, you could use it in your community organizing work as well.
Oh, I'm just a fundraiser, but yeah, I could definitely introduce it.
Well, that's the point. We're a nonprofit, and we plan to spin it out into a benefits corporation, which is very much like a nonprofit, except it can have stockholders. Um, and and that's where we'll be able to pay salaries for the people who are working on it.
Nice.
So, kids, I gotta go.
Okay,
Okay,
Jack, more later.
sounds good.
See you all.
Okay.
Bye.
Kayla, talk about
Right.
something so I don't actually bring up another depressing topic.
Oh. I honestly don't mind it. I just feel kind of like it's a lot, that you've already touched on it before. You've
Yeah,
already told me specifically about, the kids you were just mentioning. Um, I just feel like it's a little difficult to talk about all the time.
I get it. So I won't.
I'm sorry?
Let's see. I get it, so I won't. So let's see. Did anything pleasant happen to me in the last 22 days? 22 hours. Hmm. Oh, did I mention I was taking a class or a series of classes on investing?
Yeah, you did. How's that going?
Yes. So this group is actually starting up a little R&D group to do some various different strategy tests, and they've invited me to join them in that R&D group. So that's kicking off tomorrow. That'll be fun, I think.
Nice.
Want to see if,
Okay.
this makes a bit more difference or that makes a little bit more difference, or does this matter at all? So doing those kinds of tests and whether or not people understand them and can apply them, it's
Yeah.
all helping each of us do a little bit better.
Yeah. Nice.
Which reminds me that one of the areas of interest that Damien had was to go into the quant business. This would be core and central to doing quant if we automate all
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
And in all the schools that he's gotten into, I don't know which has particularly strong combination of computer engineering or software and finance.
Mm.
That would be an interesting combination of strengths to see, how he decides to go and pick a school. Or maybe UCLA is already the one to go to.
Yeah, he definitely wants to go into UCLA.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, how do you get such a strong feel that UCLA was the right place?
Him, I honestly would think it's the culture plus the academics. I think, but you have to ask him yourself.
See, I don't know anything about the culture other than the fact that two of my cousins went there.
Yeah.
But another cousin went to UCI, and three or four more went to UCB, and my son went to UC Santa Cruz. So my family has some experience with some of the UCs.
Yeah, nice.
Curiously, he or did he not apply to Stanford?
No, he did not, because he knew he wasn't going to go there even if he got it.
Really?
But
Okay.
Max wants to apply for it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, he did apply to UC Berkeley, so I'm curious, what was different about Berkeley versus Stanford?
I have no idea.
It's okay. I'm just idly, meandering around my brain.
Yeah.
Well, the fun part about working on my brain is I'm collecting all these places that I want to go visit. And one
Yeah.
of the reasons I want to go visit these places is because of all the food.
Yeah.
Food is just amazing in some of these places.
I know. That's funny.
Have you seen, I mean, do you get fed a bunch of food in TikTok or YouTube or Facebook?
I haven't pointed my algorithms to that yet, but when I do, oh my gosh, yes, I do.
Yeah, it's a huge part of my feed.
Yeah. I think
And
there was somebody that like said something that was kind of funny. Um, I don't remember which app, if it was Instagram or if it was TikTok, but he's just like, I will never travel with you ever if you don't prioritize food in your travel.
yeah,
Something to that effect. Like, if you are not excited about getting food, you can never go anywhere with me. And I'm like, yeah, that's me for sure.
yeah.
So,
I don't understand that though. What did he mean? Did he actually travel one time with somebody who said, "No, I can't have that. I just got to eat my granola and yogurt"? That kind of a
Probably. I
person?
mean, yeah, people who just want to go out and do things or sightsee or go hiking or
Ah,
something, which is fine. Like I love that stuff, but
mm-hmm.
I do have to agree with the gentleman. If
Yep.
they aren't excited about getting food, then they can't come with me.
I know where I stand on that.
Well, you can definitely come then.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's funny.
Hey, in Costa Rica, since I've never been there, in the
Uh-huh.
towns in Costa Rica, is there a lot of street food where you can walk by, like in a 1 or 2 block radius, you can go stand or walk past like 200 vendors and try all kinds of food? Is there a place like that in Costa Rica?
The funny thing is, no.
What?
That is a place. That is a place where they did not have. Well, at least when I was living there, they are not known for their food. They're known for their outdoors. You know.
Ah,
Yeah. In fact, the typical Costa Rican food is like chicken, rice, black beans, and salad. That is the typical Costa Rican food.
hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So let me clarify. As far as I recall, you've never mentioned that you've been to Taiwan, right?
Correct.
Yeah, because in Taiwan, just about every night I was there, the last 2 trips, we would go out to a night market. And literally in a span of 1 or 2 hours, you know, you couldn't you couldn't even sample 1% of what they had there. You just say, "Oh, I have to do this another time when I come back tomorrow or the next day,"
Yeah.
because there's
Yeah.
just so much variety.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's pretty affordable too if you do it that way.
So you can
And
eat
I've
out
seen
all the
this in
time.
Vietnam and Thailand and Taiwan. I think those are the three that I know you can find that. I don't know if there's probably many other places as well, but those are the three that I know of.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, did I tell you that my brother is day trading? He quit his
No.
job and he's been in tech all of his life.
Hmm.
Um, and so anyhow, he quit his job and he wants to go into like dog walking or training or something like that. He just wants to get his foot in the door, but
Hmm.
he's kind of having a hard time with his finances. Um, so he has gotten into day trading. In fact, the funny thing is too is Damien actually wrote about one of his PIQs, and don't ask me what that stands for because I have no idea what that stands for. Was on the stock market. I'm like, what do you know about the stock market? Apparently, he knows more than I do. But my brother's pretty successful about day trading or with day
That's
trading.
awesome. I could learn from
Yeah,
him then.
yeah, I know.
Is he
I could
doing
learn from
options
him.
or stocks or futures or
I think
what is he
stocks.
doing? Just stock? Okay.
Uh huh. Yeah. So he said it gets him by. He said, like, was it him or you? Somebody told me that they only spend 2 hours of work.
Yeah, if you do trading, it's actually not wise to spend hours and hours on the screen. That's a mistake I've made many times. Your brain gets dull. You start seeing, oh, there's a trade, there's another trade, oh, there's another trade. And that gets crazy after a while.
It's interesting. He also said that whenever Trump speaks, for whatever reason, what do you want? Oh my God, go outside then. Sorry, my dog is just crazy. Wants to be let outside all the time. Okay, go outside. Um, so he said whenever Trump speaks, that there's always a lot of trading going on.
There is. It's a known
He's
phenomenon.
he's all like, he's just like, as much of an idiot he is, for whatever reason, he makes the stock go crazy.
Well, that's
You know?
intentional. It's really intentional. He'll tip off his friends, like he'll say, "Oh, maybe we'll go bomb Iran's, oil fields," and then people will go and start buying, oil stocks because they figure they'll go up once we, stop getting oil from Iran. And then a couple hours later, he'll say, "Oh no, we're going to walk that back." The stock tanks, and the insiders that are getting this information from him will ride it up and down both ways.
Wow. Interesting.
That's what he's doing. It's not an accident.
Wow.
Yeah. It's like this new guy, Mark Wayne, whatever it is, who's supposed to replace Christy Nome.
Mm-hmm.
He was trading, those stocks, hour or two before Trump would make certain announcements. And it turns out he was leveraging what he knew Trump was going to say a couple hours later.
Wow.
This is what happens when you're, in the corrupt circles.
Yeah. I told my
And
brother, hey,
Martha's,
let me know when you do this, because I'll give you $100, $200. I just need to make 1,000. That's
yeah,
all. Just help me to make 1,000 here and there.
yeah. Yeah, and they prosecuted Martha Stewart for a $50,000 insider trade. But meanwhile, all these other guys, friends of Trump, are making millions and tens and hundreds of millions.
Yeah.
But it's always got to be a woman who actually has to get prosecuted.
Yeah, I know. I feel like Trump has intentionally put women in, the public so they could take the fall for him. Not that it's excusable what they're doing, but I mean, Kristi Noem, who's next?
Well, Pam Bondi is under fire right now,
Mm-hmm.
and Alina Habba had and then lost her job to Todd Blanche. Todd Blanche is not a woman.
Yeah.
Kash Patel is not a woman. Marco Rubio is not a woman. So have any of the men taken a fall for him? I don't know. And I don't know how many press secretaries he's had. I can't even name them all now. Hey, by the way, did I mention my daughter graduated on Monday, this past Monday?
No, you did not.
She took her last final. And so she's done with classes, she's done with tests. And in June, she'll be marching, in the graduation ceremony. But this coming quarter, between now and
Wow.
June, she's not attending classes anymore. So I'm going to go see her tomorrow. I'm going to go up to Bellingham.
Nice.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Haven't seen her in a couple months. Yeah. And then I get to, see what she wants to do this summer or afterwards. I've asked her 2 or 3 times and she has no idea what she wants to
Yeah.
do. It's
Yeah.
a double degree in art and math. There's some pretty good opportunities, but I don't think her brain has gone there yet.
Yeah.
I'll let her decompress a little bit before I start bringing all that up,
Yeah.
as a parent would do.
I know. I know.
Like if Damien were graduating college and he said, I don't know what to do, okay? How long would you let him decompress before you have that conversation with him?
Who, Max or Damien?
Damien.
Um, I have no idea. Probably like a year.
A year? Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Really? You remember the movie The Graduate?
No, I've never watched
No?
that.
Oh, that was a
No.
classic. Guy graduates college, doesn't know what to do. That's the start of the movie.
You got to do something.
You would think. But in this movie, the parents are pretty well off, and so the guy is just, floating in the pool, not wondering, whatever he's going to do. Would you actually send him to Europe with a Eurail pass and a
Yeah.
flight in and out and say, okay, you take three
Yep.
friends and you do the following? That would be kind of cool, I would think.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joanne.
I'm envious of my son that his parents were able to let that happen. So now I get to parent myself if I have the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So what's on the docket for the rest of today?
Mm. We're cleaning, organizing. Let's see. Looking at my
Sorry, I asked.
finances. Maybe looking into trading out my car since oil prices are only going to keep going up.
Are you thinking about getting a electric or hybrid?
A hybrid. I mean, I also have to consider Max. Oh my God. Here's the thing. It's like, couldn't have come at a worse time. So I've got a lease and I can either trade it out now. They're like, oh yeah, trade it out the lease. They're always, wanting you to continue getting money for
Right, right.
you know, um, sorry. Oh, okay. I'm looking at something real quick, but anyhow, um, so the only thing is like, if I do trade out my car, then that's another ding on my credit score, right? Because they're going to have to look into my credit. And right now my credit score is over 800. I just want my
Awesome.
credit score to be really good.
Mm-hmm.
And so by the time Max is going to get his car, which is a year later, will I have like saved that much? That's the only thing. It's like right now my finances are kind of taking a dip. Everything's expensive, and thankfully I don't have a trip to Hawaii to worry about. But Damien's going into college too. I told Damien, good luck. I'm not gonna help you, but of course I'm gonna help him. Of course I'm gonna give him gas money from time to time, make sure that he's got groceries and help him with whatever he needs, which is, another expense. But anyway, I'm just kind of thinking of all of that. Thankfully, Max he goes to school in Ventura and he can take the bus, and there's other opportunities for him to get around. If I get a job here in Ventura County, specifically the Justice Foundation, then that would be great because that would mean that I can take the bus too, to save a little bit of money as well. And so I'm kind of stuck between, do I want to share a car with Max next year? Do I want to have another car, which is always a good idea, right? But what do I do? So should I care about my credit? I mean, that's always good too. So,
I live real remote, but since you live in civilization, is there a Zipcar terminal near you?
no, there's no Zipcar terminal. And I would love to get an electric vehicle. That would be okay. My dream would be to have a hybrid. My bigger dream would have like a off-road hybrid, but I may need to shelf that for a little bit, and then get like an electric vehicle, like just an easy one that you could commute around town. You don't have to fill up with gas.
Hmm.
So I don't even know if I can make that dream a possibility. Like if I went to if I went to the car dealership and say, "This is what I really want," what do you guys think? I feel like they'd probably try to pull $1,000 from me a month. So
Well, there's certain cars that are way more affordable now than they were a year ago. I think
yeah, yeah.
Teslas are like that, right? Teslas have dropped a lot in value simply
Oh
because
hell
of
yeah.
Elon.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, a close friend of mine who's a mechanic, he can't speak highly enough of Toyota
But
and
yeah,
Lexus.
yeah. I want to stay in the Toyota family. They've always been reliable. Their, replacement parts are pretty cheap.
Yep,
To fix them is pretty cheap.
yep.
So
He used to
anyway.
like Nissans, and I have a Nissan. And he says my Nissan is one of the last Nissans he ever works on because I'm a friend of his. But he's told other Nissan owners he's not going to work on them anymore. Uh,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So he's told me to trade mine out as soon as I can for a Toyota.
Yeah.
I'm probably just going to drive it into the ground because hopefully I get to leave the country in a few months.
Which one of your cards are you going to give me?
Oh, we can arrange a barter system then.
There you go.
I'll say this car for, let's say, 2,000 dinners.
There you go. That'd be a fun road trip. Fly up to your place, take one of your cars, and go back down.
Well, I've driven the coast a few times. It's a fun drive.
Yeah, yeah,
Mostly it's not the entire coast, but I've made that Bay Area to, Southern Cal trip probably over a dozen times, maybe 2 dozen. And I've made the trip from the Bay Area up to Seattle probably, I don't know, a dozen times. So it's doable. It's fun. You get the
yeah,
right music going, you get the right, co-driver, it's fun.
yeah. Yeah.
If you're not in a hurry, you can go along the coast, and it's even more fun.
Right?
Yeah.
Take your camping gear, go
Right.
to the most beautiful places across the coast. But yeah, yeah,
Although the cars that I've got that you'd be interested in aren't big enough to have pets in, not easily anyway,
yeah, yeah,
not without a lot of protection. So it'd be more fun to be able to bring a dog or two or three and do
yeah,
it.
yeah. Oh, oh boy.
Yeah. Well, I'll think of some more positive, engaging topics, and I'll try and stay away from the
Have you
downward
heard enough
facing
of
ones.
child rape? I hear child rape very often. Not just from you, by the way.
Hmm.
Like abuse and all of that. It gets pretty heavy.
Where have I been all my life? I guess I did not realize it was this rampant and this pervasive. That's
What?
a problem. Anyway, I'll have
Well,
different topic dar going this week.
yeah, I know.
I had some better questions, by the way, for Maxwell, but I'll save those for next time he appears.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see if Damien
I
wants to
gotta,
do that at some point.
yeah, I gotta get Max situated for college. He said he wants to get into, a university. So
Yeah, it'd be interesting to understand why he thinks Stanford is okay and Damien didn't. That'll be another conversation.
yeah, I know. Uh, I've been watching a lot of TikToks on like the scoring because it's interesting to me, like how you score somebody. There are people who've been saying they didn't get into like UC Riverside, but they got into UCLA, which is really
Hmm.
surprising to me because UC Riverside, I feel like they set their bar kind of low, which is, it is what it is.
Hmm.
But UCLA, they set their bar really high.
Hmm.
So I think Damien has a weighted score of like 4.3 or 4.4. He does go to a school that is not really known for having too much in terms of like, students engaged in high academia. So he's one of the high ones. Not to say that he wouldn't be if he were in
Yes.
kind of a, one of those other schools. He is in an area that is, I almost want to say lower middle class, in Long Beach. So
Hmm.
I know they look into those factors as well. Plus, if his PIQs were on the stock market, on a drumline captain, and then on my dad, his grandpa, that it might have been interesting enough for the colleges. And as I understand it, he only has one application for all of the UCs, and then one application for all of the state, the Cal States. Um, so I'm very curious about like the the process in which somebody would read the applications and then accept that person to into their department.
Hmm.
So Max's tutor, who happens to be a UCLA um, graduate, and I think he is even like a English assistant professor or something like that. Something. I guess he looks at um, applications sometimes, and he's going to try to coach Maxwell into like being a little bit more interesting. But he wants to talk to him about um, college too, and so I'm really interested in that process.
Man, it feels like I've been away from that process so long. It's been 5 or 6 years since I've had to do that with Ronnie, and I
Yeah.
will not have another opportunity to do that, as far as I know.
I know this is my first time because Kenny took it all for Damien. He didn't even ask you know, he didn't ask my opinion and stuff. And I'm like, okay, you got it. That's one thing about Kenny is he's very like education focused. Um, so yeah.
Well, congratulations. It's really awesome. I mean, half a dozen schools got them accepted the last week or two. That's pretty good. Really good.
Yeah.
So when does he decide? Has he already sent in his acceptance letter?
I have to ask him when he's planning on.
I mean, if he's that clear, he can just go ahead and send it in right away. If you're speaking, I can't hear you anymore.
I know, sorry, because the dogs keep like barking.
It's okay.
Stop. Indy's deaf. That's why. He's getting mad at me because I'm kind of pushing him with the knee. So he's getting mad, and then Eclipse, she just likes to bark at me when I try to do something. You know what I need? I need a squirt gun.
Get a super soaker.
Because when I bust out with like the garden hose, all I have to do is show it to the dogs. They run away. They run inside. Maybe I'll start doing that. Start showing
Isn't
him
there
the
a
garden
Toys R
hose
Us
again.
nearby?
No, they closed all of the Toys R Us.
Well, then you can get the $1.25 one at Dollar Tree.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I assume they have squirt guns.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Well,
I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna
good.
do my finances now.
I'm going to rebuild one of my laptops, which just died last 4 days ago.
Oh,
So
dang
I
it.
should.
You
I like it. It's kind of a fun project. It distracts me from trading in the market.
I have two laptops, like two, just like regular laptops and then one Mac.
Hmm.
I wish you were close by. I'd be like, can you help me?
Are they dead?
No, they're not dead. Like the keyboard for the Mac is like all fucked up because Damien poured water on it. And so it's all screwed up now. And then the other two, they're just old and they run really slow.
That's one thing I really enjoy is I like taking old machines because, I can just replace Windows with Linux and it just feels a whole lot faster. Literally. You can either
What do
wait
you
till
do
I get
again?
there. I replace Windows with Linux and then the machine gets a lot
Oh,
faster and it's easily usable by then, when I get
huh.
done with it. So if you want to
Okay.
send it to me, I can do that. Or if you want to wait till I come visit, I can do that too. It takes about, I don't know, a couple hours to do two of the machines.
Nice.
Yeah, it doesn't take long at all.
Okay,
That's what I'm going to
okay.
do with my machine right now.
Okay. Sounds good. All right.
Okay, Kayla, I will,
Okay.
like I said, think of some more fun things to do next time.
Excellent. Talk to
All
you
right.
later then.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.